Hi, everyone. I'm Randy Arrington, and welcome to episode 70 of Page Valley Livin'. Well, I got a festive shirt on here today, and as spring is beginning to go out and summer getting ready to come in, it's time to get outdoors and enjoy it. And we're here today on the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway. And joining me is Gladys McNemar, who is the treasurer of the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway Foundation. We're going to be talking about what the foundation has been up to, their recent Clean and Green event held at the end of April to go along with Earth Day, and we'll also talk about the new plans for an extension of the Greenway out to the Redwell Furnace at Yagers Spring. We'll get some of the details and updates about that project that is still ongoing. We're going to talk spring and we're going to talk the Greenway when we return right here for episode 70 of Page Valley Livin'. We'll be back in a moment after a word from our sponsor. At Luray Caverns, you can hear music of symphonic quality from ancient stone formations on the great stalacpipe organ, the largest musical instrument in the world, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway. Joining me today, Gladys McNemar. Gladys, thanks so much for being with us today.
My pleasure.
And of course, you are the treasurer of the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway. And you guys have had a lot going on, but I tell you, we've got a little bit of cloud cover today. But earlier when the sun was out, what a better place to be than right along the Greenway.
Absolutely. It's always refreshing to walk the Greenway or to just sit at the Greenway.
Well, so many people do so many things. They're biking, they're walking their dogs. I can see right now, is a little bit off camera, but there's a fisherman out there going for some rainbow trout out in the Hawksbill Creek that flows right down through the middle of downtown Luray here. And it really is one of the crown jewels of our town, isn't it?
It is indeed. And you can see why Ruffner Plaza is considered Luray's front porch. Right here, this is the front porch.
That's
so
right.
Wonderful.
Right next to West Main Bridge, right here in downtown Luray. And let's get right into some of the things we want to talk about this wonderful walkway. It's about 3 miles long. It has different sections, but it is heavily used. You guys had a survey that talked about that. We'll be talking more about that in our second segment in just a few moments. But and telling you how you can also participate and put your opinion on their survey. But I want to start out by talking about the Clean and Green event back in the last week of April to coincide with Earth Day. Tell us about that.
So we began April 22nd on Earth Day and concluded on April 30th. So an Earth Week we had to honor and celebrate the earth and the beauty that we are surrounded by here in Luray. And we asked for volunteers to help us, so we don't know who's coming and how many, but we always have a good turnout. So this was our third year, and we had 14 adults come and work with us here on the Greenway itself, both in the creek, on the banks, and on the trail.
Okay.
So majority of the trash that we do pick up is in the creek or along the banks of the creek. Okay. And then on the 24th of April, we had the children, or the students from Luray Middle School and Page County Middle School. And they are with a group called Teens Opportunity Programming.
Yeah.
And that is sponsored by staff from JMU.
Okay.
And they work with the counselors here at the two schools and mentor the students after school activities as well. And one of the things they do is community service. So they gave us a shout and asked if they could help us in any way with anything. And so I brought up the Earth Day last year when they first reached out. Didn't know if they would be interested in such a thing, picking up trash, right?
Right.
But indeed they were, and they're just magnificent. So
and they helped you out up at Ralph Dean Park, right?
Yeah, this year they helped us up at Ralph Dean Park, and they, in an hour's time, filled a 55-gallon trash can full of trash and weeds. So when you're picking up trash that's small,
yeah, right,
you know, most of the time, that's quite a feat in just 1 hour's time. They're very focused and very diligent about the work they were doing.
Well, talking about the trash that you picked up now, I used to be a part of a group for about 10 years that did a river cleanup. And we used to kind of talk about what is the strangest item that we found each year. What was the strangest item that you all found or pulled out of the creek? Can you remember? I know there was a tire somewhere in there.
There was a tire this year, and in previous years we had taken out, the first year we took out like 6 tires.
Oh, wow.
So only 1 tire this year. I think a sink.
A sink?
A sink, yeah.
Out of Hawksbill Creek?
Out of Hawksbill Creek,
wow.
Not too far down the creek here.
And the one thing that you said that was very interesting during your presentation last week to the Luray Town Council was that this year you guys filled about a half of a truck bed. The first year you did it, you filled 2 truckfuls, and you feel like maybe that's a sign of maybe some better stewardship amongst our users, right?
Yes, I believe so. And the other thing that we want to do is to make this a little easier for people to dispose of their trash. I think by and large what we see is an accident. People just, you know, we just need to be more mindful of our trash, that it just doesn't blow away from us, and that we can dispose of it. So we just applied for a grant for the Keep Virginia Beautiful program, and we're hoping to add a few more trash cans, and we're looking to put trash cans on poles so that we can get them closer to the fishing area and not have to pour a concrete foundation. So part of the Clean and Green is to remove trash, but also to educate and foster good stewardship.
The foundation has such a great partnership with the town, and they do I believe a majority of the maintenance. Benches need repairing and all, but does the foundation help pay for some of that? Or?
We do, and that's through the generosity of the donors who donate to the town. So if somebody's sponsoring a tree, you know, some of that money, often it's for a plaque, for a memorial, or for a poem. We just recently started the poetry trail. And those funds, once we pay for the plaque and so forth, the remaining funds go into a general fund to help with maintenance
and upkeep and repairs.
But yes, a shout out to the Parks and Rec Department in Luray. I'm telling you, they are wonderful folks to work with, and they do all the maintenance. Really. I mean, I pick up trash as I'm walking. I wiped away a few cobwebs here, but they do all the maintenance. So we're really fortunate to have a very dedicated
the
Parks and Rec
team. The Parks and Rec Department does a fantastic job with all of our parks. And for a town this size, the amenities that we have in terms of Parks and Rec and of course the creek and the natural amenities we have, it's we're kind of blessed in our own way here in Luray. And we were talking about fundraising. I imagine a lot of dollars now are being earmarked for the new project out at Yagers Springs. That's going to be both a historical interpretation at a historical site as well as an extension of the Greenway. And it's a big project that's in the planning phases. We're going to give you some more details about that, as well as some information about a survey that the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway Foundation has going on now and how you can participate. We're going to have that coming up in just a moment after another word from our sponsor. At Luray Caverns, from well-lighted paved walkways, explore cathedral-sized rooms with ceilings 10 stories high, and walk among huge chambers filled with towering stone columns. Come visit Geology's Hall of Fame, only at Luray Caverns. Visit them online at luraycaverns.com to plan your trip today. Welcome back, everyone, to the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway. This is episode 70 of Page Valley Livin'. We're filming this episode today on Tuesday, May the 20th, and we'll first be airing it on Wednesday, April the 21st. And again, we're here with Gladys McNemar, the treasurer of the Luray Greenway Luray-Hawksbill Greenway Foundation. There, I got it out. And we are talking now in our second segment about a very interesting project out at the Redwell Furnace at Yagers Springs. And let's start off by talking about the catchphrase that you all are considering. I know you haven't decided on one yet, but the one that's at the top of the list is the Redwell Furnace at Yagers Springs, the Health to History Trail. Tell me about how you came up with that.
Well, we had a strategic planning meeting on March 27th this year to begin to talk about the construction phase of this project. And so we started kicking around what would be the catchphrase, the elevator speech, if you will. So, you know, the Greenway is here for health, health of the environment, health of us, and the trail is going to take us to the history of Redwell Furnace.
Right.
So that's how we kind of came up with that idea of health to history.
And I'm going to mess this up, but if I remember my interview with Rod Graves, and you can go back on Page Valley Livin on our YouTube channel and look back at the show we did on Yagers Springs with Rod Graves. He is a wealth of information as a local historian. And I believe he talked about that little village existing even before the town of Luray.
Yes.
That little village out there with the furnace, and there's so much history there, and some of the iron and some of the stuff that was produced there were used in some very interesting historical structures in the state of Virginia and beyond. And I don't want to say too much because I'm going to mess up the story, but you can go back and watch that episode where all of that is in there. But there's going to be historical interpretations there too, right?
Correct. We want to do interpretive signs about the history, signage, as well as about the ecology. So in keeping with our goal of education as part of our mission, so we want to display this for everyone to be able to read and understand. And
the town, you know, from the town's perspective, they're also protecting a very important water source. I can't remember how many millions of gallons a day or thousands of gallons.
8 million gallons a day, 24 hours.
Yeah, 8 million gallons a day. And to look into that pool and to see that sort of bluish, greenish water and how clear it is, it's amazing. It's a great natural resource. It's a historical resource, but it's going to extend the Greenway and give us another outlet for walking. How far is it going to extend?
It'll be another 1,100, 1,200 linear feet.
Right.
So it's not a much greater distance, excuse me, but it is, we'll be going across the creek. And then once we get up onto the property, we go across the dam that's up there to the spring. So there's a lot of beauty there and a lot of ecology, a lot of the environment that we'll be able to talk about, as well as the history.
But it's been a little complicated because of the creek and the bridge it's got to go in. The two bridges, that's right.
Two bridges.
That have to go in. That's made it a little difficult.
And then, of course, we're going to be ADA.
Right.
So we want everyone to be able to get to the spring and to the historical site and see it. So to grade everything and get it such that everyone, strollers, walkers, wheelchairs, everyone can get there to see it.
It is going to be an expensive project. It could be between $2 to $3 million, and it obviously will be shared with the town, and there's going to be fundraising about that. You talked about, when you talked to the town council, a fundraising kickoff for Yagers Spring. Do you know much about that? Can you tell us much?
We're in the planning stages, very beginning. So we're hoping to do that in July, perhaps August, but planning for late July, early August. And we'll shuttle people there. There's not parking there.
Yeah.
And we'll shuttle folks up to be able to see the Yagers Spring. Most people have never seen it.
Yes, it's tucked away. It's tucked away, but it's an interesting spot.
And that's one of the things the town really wants to happen. The leaders of the town, the town council, the mayor, previous mayor, they want this to be for everyone to be able to see, and all of the Page County residents, not just Luray.
No, it's going to be wonderful. In its own essence, it'll be a bit of a historical and tourist draw in and of itself. I think, you know, to a certain degree.
It is on the Virginia Historical Registry, and probably will be on the historical registry for nationally as well.
Yeah.
We're working on that.
Took a lot of hard work for Mr. Graves
Yes.
to get that on the state registry as well.
Yes.
Well, let's talk a little bit. Well, before we go into the survey, which we'll talk about at the end, I do want to ask you, so with the length of this project, and I know you all have stages and you've got it kind of mapped out, how far might we be from construction actually starting?
In 2025, our goal is to have the construction plans completed.
Okay.
We haven't begun those yet. Of course, there's some basic drawings that we had because of the feasibility study. So we began this process in 2021.
Right.
And it began with Ken Byer, our president. He had just resigned from the presidency at that time, but was still active as a director. Mm-hmm. And he brought the project forward as, do we want to look at this?
Right.
And talked about the history. And he brought some of the slag from the area there, from the furnace. And so we talked about that for a while, and then that was in March of 2021. In October of 21, Rod came to visit with us because we had tapped into him because of his history, his historical knowledge. And he has a lot of the ledgers and different documents from the furnace. And so he brings a wealth of knowledge, as you said. And then in January 22, we went to town council and proposed the idea.
Right.
And so it's been brewing ever since then. Right. So 2022 was primarily the feasibility study, and part of 23. And 24, we did the archaeological studies. We did 2 archaeological studies because we don't want to disturb the history.
Right.
We want to preserve the history, and so we wanted to do that correctly. And so those studies have taken more time than we thought.
So if we have construction plans by the end of the year, could we see construction start in 26?
That would be wonderful.
That would be wonderful. Well, I tell you, according to the results of this survey that you guys are doing, and I don't know how many you're up to now, beginning of the week, or was it last week, it was 200 and some, 94%, I believe, were in approval of this. 95 or more % said they would use it. Does that sound about right?
It's about right. Yeah, we're now up to 245 responses.
Okay.
That was 219 as of last Monday.
All right.
And it was 90.4% who were in favor.
Well,
so
I mean,
I don't
what are you going to get 95% approval on? Come on. I mean, it sounds like the community is very much behind it. But what I want to make sure we get out there before we forget is, how can people participate in this survey? How can they vote and get their opinions in here? Where is it at?
Well, we have assigned similar, just like this, identical, along the trail.
Okay.
We have about 8 signs along the trail. They'll be out here probably till the end of the month. You can also go to the town website. Or Facebook.
Which is townofluray.com. Okay.
And then hawksbillgreenway.org. To the foundation's website and Facebook, and tap into the survey there, either through the QR code or a link.
Okay.
And it's going to be mailed out with the utility bill coming out from the town. Again, just a link and a QR code.
And I tell you what we'll do, for all of you watching out there, if you look right above this video, you're going to see a link to the survey as well. So maybe we will get you a few more. Maybe we'll double or triple this number, hopefully. Yeah. What out of the survey, you basically talked about, you asked people how many times they use it. What are the different age groups that use it? What is their purpose of using it? How long? When? Who, where are you from? And we found that about 95% of the people were either from the county or the surrounding area, with about 5% being tourists. But what do you think, out of all of this data, without going through all of it, what do you think jumped off the page at you, or was there anything that you really learned something from that you've seen so far?
Well, it's interesting because I've heard people refer to it as the senior citizen trail.
Okay.
But indeed, that's not the case according to our statistics. The majority of the users are in the 40s and 50s.
Okay.
And so that was interesting to me because I'm a senior citizen and I
Okay.
use it. And since I retired, I'm able to use it a lot more. So that makes us happy. But it's a greenway for everyone, and the statistics show that in the different age groups that use the greenway.
Well, I know this information is very important. So again, and I should clarify, if you're watching on YouTube, you're not going to see that link. You need to go to our website, pagevalleynews.com. If you're accessing the video through that website and the story on our website, then you will see a link above there where you can participate in this survey, where they're getting a lot of great information. And I do think the age groups you talked about, that was something that kind of jumped off at me as well. But some really great responses that people are very, very supportive of the Greenway in many ways. Let's hope they'll be as supportive with their checkbooks and maybe their wallets a little bit, maybe get involved, maybe volunteer, maybe go out and help clean up some trash one day a little bit. But there's a lot of great things you guys are doing. As we wrap up here, is there anything else you'd like to point out about the foundation or the Greenway that maybe we didn't cover?
Just to say thank you to all those who have donated and those who are thinking about donating. We have paid for the process thus far to extend the Greenway, all the studies, all the floodplain studies, all the archaeological studies, the endangered species studies, everything that went into that has been funded by either grants or private donations. And so there's been several $100,000 raised for this project already. So I want to say thank you to all those folks who have done that. The SVEC, the Shenandoah Valley Electric Company, gave us a grant.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Luray Caverns has given us a donation. In a local couple that don't even live in Page County, they gave us a very generous donation. So we're grateful to all the donors who sponsor the Greenway daily, as well as those who are tuned in into this project. We have one donor who's giving every month towards the project.
Oh, wow.
So,
wow. Well, I'll tell you, it is truly as we said, one of the crown jewels of Luray, of a beautiful park system with multiple sites. But the Greenway is just something special, and people come here to study it and try to replicate it in their own towns. I want to wrap up talking about this guy right here and about the Greenway in general. You mentioned him earlier. This bench was dedicated last year to the father of the Greenway,
right,
Ken Byer, who went to a conference somewhere back around 2000-ish, 1999 maybe.
1999.
And with Pat O'Brien, the former Parks Director, and they came back with an idea that really has grown and continues to grow, and now we might even see it grow even some more and extend out more. But Mr. Byer's a great guy, and he's done a lot of interesting things in his life, but surely this will be one of his legacies. What has he meant to the Greenway in the town of Luray?
Again, he's the father of the Greenway, and his wife, Jean, her support through all the years. Ken has shared with us that they miss family events because something had to happen for the Greenway. So we are very, very grateful to Ken and to Jean and to Pat O'Brien, who was the Parks and Rec superintendent at the time.
Sure.
And Jen Jenkins, who's the Parks and Rec superintendent now.
Does an outstanding job.
We are so blessed, as you had said earlier, surrounded with people that who really care, are dedicated to their work.
Well, in a town of 4,500 people, now granted we are a tourist town, it's nice to have amenities and things, but besides just being pretty and that kind of thing, having a pretty place to walk, what is the true benefits and of having a facility like the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway?
It's community. It's that community spirit. It's here every day, every evening. I'm looking over here at the sail shade that was installed last year. The pergola was falling down. It was unsafe. We had to take it down for safety reasons. And T-Mobile gave us a nice grant towards our renovation of Ruffner Plaza. And it's that community. You know, when you come out on a Friday evening and there's a concert here, and it's just neighbors gathered together and people meeting new friends. And that happens on the Greenway every day.
And it's so many different sections. I mean, some are better known for the fishing hole that's nearby, and some are known just a great private walk where you can kind of get away a little bit from the traffic, you know, that are offset a little bit more. As you said, Ruffner Plaza, where they have the Evenings on Main concert series over the summer. So many things that happen right here. Well, I'll tell you, Gladys McNemar, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Being with us today and talking about the Greenway. You're the treasurer of the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway Foundation. Folks, if you haven't enjoyed the Greenway, which I can't imagine where you've been if you haven't, make sure you get out here and look at all these murals and all the beauty that's around the Hawksbill Creek. Make sure you get out here for a concert during the Evenings on Main concert series coming up this summer. You can catch the schedule if you're on the home page of Page Valley News. Look right up in the upper right-hand corner and you'll see the schedule for upcoming concerts this summer. And make sure you donate if you can to the Luray-Hawksbill Greenway Foundation. And if you're looking on our website, click the survey up there. Let them know what you think about the upcoming plans out at Redwell Furnace and Yagers Springs. Well, once again, folks, we're wrapping up episode 70 of Page Valley Livin' here. Make sure if you like the episode to hit that like button, share it with a friend, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Page Valley News on YouTube. And as always, we want to thank Eleanor Arrington for her help behind the camera and in the editing room this week. And as always, make sure you go by the Page County Animal Shelter and help one of our furry friends find a forever home. For Gladys McNemar, I'm Randy Arrington saying, until next week, enjoy that Page Valley living.